Police, we're taking this place.
Shakespeare, what was that?
Whoosh. I think it was a flashback.
A flashback? Like when we get to see something that happened in the past?
Yup.
Weird. What could it have been about?
Hello? Children, I can tell you all about that flashback. That was the Stonewall Inn on the night of the riots in 1969.
Whoa. Does that mean you were there?
Of course I was.
Shakespeare, everyone, welcome to today's People of Power episode, featuring LGBTQIA plus activist, co-founder of STAR and the Gay Liberation Front, and a key player of the Stonewall Riots, Sylvia Rivera.
It's an honor having you here.
Well, thanks Shakespeare, thanks Christina, and happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride!
Whoosh. Happy Pride! Either way, is it all right if I call you Ms. Rivera?
Oh sure, I use she, her pronouns. For most of my life I identified as a drag queen, but I really don't like labels too much. I think a trans woman would best describe me today if I had to choose.
Thank you, Ms. Rivera.
You're welcome.
Now, you came to New York's LGBTQIA plus scene in the West Village at a very young age. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, I was born up in the Bronx. My father left when I was born, and my mom passed away when I was only 3. So my grandma raised me.
Even though Sylvia was born into a boy's body, she didn't feel like she fit in with people's expectations of what a boy should be.
My grandma would come home and find me all dolled up in dresses and makeup. Oof, she would beat my little behind. But deep down, she knew who I really was. One day, she came home crying because people in the neighborhood were calling me names.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's when I knew I had to leave. It was too painful for her to raise a child that was different, like me.
As we've talked about before, people's ignorance can lead them to be cruel. Sylvia fought against this cruelty and discrimination for her entire life, including within the LGBTQIA plus community.
Oh, we'll get to that.
So, Ms. Rivera, how old were you when you left home?
I was 10.
10? You were just a child.
That's right. I was just a little kid out there on the streets, breaking the law and getting arrested.
Oh, no. How did you survive?
Well, that's where our friend Marsha, Pay It No Mind Johnson, comes in. She found me and started taking care of me and got me a job. She was like a mother to me.
That's right. Poor child needed a mother.
Marsha! I owe this woman everything.
Well, we drag queens gotta stick together. Besides, I got a lifelong friend out of it, didn't I?
That's right, Marsha. Whew, we did some great work together.
Marsha and Sylvia were lifelong advocates for LGBTQIA plus rights, especially for trans youth. We've talked about how Marsha and Sylvia founded STAR, which stands for Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries. They provided a home and support for gay and trans teenagers.
Amazing work! Now, we've talked a little bit about Ms. Johnson's role in the Stonewall Riots in June of 1969. Ms. Rivera, can you tell us about your involvement?
Yeah, I heard you threw the first glass bottle that started it all.
Oh no, that's a lie. But I threw the second one. I was at the Stonewall Inn with a friend of mine when the police got there.
It was pretty routine. The cops would come, line us all up, the mafia would pay them off, and they would leave.
This is what we learned to live with at that time. We had to live with it until that day.
What do you think was different about that day?
I don't know if it was the customers or it was the police. Everything clicked. See, we didn't have anything to lose. There were so many injustices. I was already involved in the civil rights movement, the peace movement, women's rights. I could tell this was a revolutionary moment.
Sylvia already felt outcast from society, so she had no problem challenging authority and making her voice heard.
What happened then?
The police let us all out of the bar so they could collect the money from the mafia. We started looking at each other, standing out there on the street and thinking, why? Why do we have to keep on constantly putting up with this? We started throwing our change at the police. Pennies, nickels, dimes. And we were yelling, here's your payoff!
The police never expected us to fight back. They were scared.
Ooh, they were shaking in the little police boots.
Woo! Thanks for the laugh, Sylvia, but I'm going to let you finish telling your part of the story. Bye, my dear.
Bye, Ms. Johnson.
Bye, Marsha.
Happy Pride, everyone.
People will argue back and forth. Who started the riots? Was it the street queens, lesbians, gay men? Honestly, it was all of us. Word spread like wildfire that night, and it seemed like the whole West Village neighborhood was there by the end.
The protests against LGBTQIA+ discrimination continued outside of the Stonewall Inn for the next 5 nights in a row. In the aftermath, several organizations were formed, including a few that Sylvia herself helped to create. But in time, Sylvia would feel betrayed by the movement and the LGBTQIA+ community.
Ooh, you're talking about the gay rights bill here in New York, which would make it illegal to discriminate against gay people in housing or in the workforce.
Yes, a bill is like an idea for a new law. Once the idea gets decided on, it gets put to a vote. And if enough people vote for it, then it becomes a law.
I fought hard for that bill to get passed into a law. I was the only one who got arrested for it because I had the guts to go into Times Square area on 42nd Street and petition the people to sign that petition. No one else did that.
Even after years of fighting for this bill to get passed into law, Sylvia found herself ultimately betrayed and shut out.
These politicians have a little backroom deal without inviting Miss Sylvia and some of the other trans activists. The deal was, you take them out, we'll pass the bill. And ultimately, trans folks like me were left out. Our rights were not important enough to be protected. I was devastated. I was angry.
Sylvia Rivera was so hurt by this betrayal that she left New York and her activism for 20 years.
That's right, Christina. It wasn't until the death of my dear friend Marsha that I came back to New York and I started fighting for gay and trans rights again.
You even slept in the street to bring attention to the issue of homeless youth in the community. Is that right?
That's right. I was almost 50 years old and I was living on the street next to the Hudson River to draw attention to the crisis of homelessness in our community. The Lesbian and Gay Community Services Center was only a few blocks away, and they didn't lift a finger to help us out there on the street.
That's terrible.
I know.
Sylvia Rivera passed away 2 years later. She was only 51 years old, but her legacy becomes more and more profound every day.
That's right.
Within about a year of her death, the Sylvia Rivera Law Project was formed, which fights for the political voice and visibility of low-income people of color who are transgender, intersex, or gender non-conforming.
Other important organizations include the National Center for Transgender Equality, Borealis Philanthropies Fund for Trans Generations, or FTG, and the Trans Justice Funding Project.
Sylvia, we also want to let you know about a huge recent victory for the LGBTQIA+ communities. In a landmark decision on June 15th, 2020, the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that the Civil Rights Act of 1964 also protects gay and trans folks from being discriminated against in the workplace. That means that by law, they have to be treated equally at work.
Wow, thank you for telling me that. It feels like people are finally starting to take us seriously.
And we will continue that fight. Right, everyone?
Thank you for having me, Christina and Shakespeare. And remember, it's okay to feel angry when something is unfair. Stand up for other people in need. Your voice is important, and it deserves to be heard.
Thank you, Ms. Rivera.
Bye, Christina. Bye, Shakespeare.
Bye, Miss Rivera. We're going to continue the fight.
To learn more about Sylvia Rivera, the Stonewall Riots, or the LGBTQIA community, check out these books from your local bookstore or your local library.
Stonewall, A Building, an Uprising, a Revolution, by Rob Sanders. Illustrated by Jamie Kristoff. This Day in June, by Gail E. Pittman. Illustrated by Christina Litton. The hips on the drag queen go swish, 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 by Lil Miss Hot Mess. Illustrated by Olga de Dios. You can also pre-order Sylvia and Marsha Start a Revolution, by Joy Ellison. Illustrated by Tashika Silver.
Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Please like and share this video. It really helps us out. And if you have an amazing person of color in mind that you'd like to hear more about, please let us know. You can find us on Facebook or Instagram, or send us an email on our website, Shakesbears.com.
Special thanks to Ramiro Salazar, who voiced Sylvia Rivera. To show support for Ramiro, please consider a donation to the LGBTQ Freedom Fund here. Thanks also to Matthew Hancock, who voiced Marsha P. Johnson. You can directly support him here.
Our videos are released every Tuesday and Thursday, so we'll see you then. Bye!
Here are a few resources for LGBTQIA+ youth and their families.
Police, we're taking this place.